believe that hierarchies exist. And what I mean by this is in our biological reality, no one's better than anybody. The ego might have you feel and think and believe otherwise. But the way I see it, I'm not better than anybody else. I'm not above anybody. And at the same time, nobody's better than me. At the core level, we all have equal value. And in my mind, it doesn't matter if you're a janitor, if you're a multi-million-dollar businessman, Hollywood star, royalty. That doesn't matter to me. Aside from all the societal labels, at a core human level, we're all created equally. If you think about it, we all have DNA, and the purpose of DNA, from the perspective of DNA, is self-propagation, which means replication and survival. And your DNA has produced you. And it's been around for a hell of a long time. It's not been here just a few minutes. Even if you just look at human evolution, and if you Google human evolution and see how long our genus has been around for, it's millions and millions and millions and millions of years. And that means that the DNA, which is in your body right now, has been copied. Slight alterations here and there, but it's in the main, it's been copied in tweets. And this has happened again and again and again and again and again. And this means that you are a survival machine, and also able to pass on that genetic material as well. This means that you must be precious and you must be enough on a biological level. How can you possibly say that one set of DNA is better than another? This, to me, doesn't make any sense. This person is superior to that person genetically. I don't buy it. I don't believe that. We spent most of our evolutionary history as hunter-gatherers, living in a hunter-gatherer society. And it's relatively recent that we're living in this society, this modern society, which is completely different. They didn't have YouTube back in those times. So things are very, very different in our external reality. But our internal reality is pretty much the same. So we spent most of our time as hunter-gatherers, a tiny fraction in modern society. So this means that your DNA self-replicated, survived, passed on again and again and again and again and again in hunter-gatherer times. So it must be high quality. If your DNA wasn't high quality, you wouldn't be here. It's as simple as that. Survival of the fittest, and you survive all those millions of years. This is the truth. So if you've survived for millions and millions of years in hunter-gatherer times, who's to say that your genes aren't good enough? It's crazy. This is the way that I see it. So, just like there's different breeds of dogs out there, you have greyhounds, really, really, really fast. Chihuahuas, you have such a crazy variety. They're all different. It wouldn't be fair to say greyhounds are better than chihuahuas. That wouldn't really be fair because there's so many different parameters you could use to judge which is best, and it's impossible to do that. The point is, nature judged, and nature said that, well, they're both here for a reason, but different reasons. And just like there's a crazy variety of dog breeds out there, there's a crazy variety of breeds of humans. So many different types of people. And we're all designed to thrive. In hunter-gatherer times, we all thrived, otherwise you wouldn't be here. So you have to have strengths in life. You wouldn't be here on this planet if you didn't have some natural talents. But maybe you don't know what your natural talents are. This is what I was like. I thought, man, I'm so quiet. This is in high school and college. Wow, I have no friends. Wow, I'm struggling to speak to people. What's going on here? Am I somehow worse than other people? Do I lack some ability that other people have? What's going on? I was so confused. And when I got confident, which is a very, very long story for another day, changed my life, became a coach, suddenly I now see my own strengths. But when I was younger, I didn't know what my strengths were. And I was trying to be someone that I wasn't. And this is why I was struggling. I was a Chihuahua trying to be a greyhound. How come I can't compete with these people? It's because I wasn't playing to my strengths. Now I'm playing to my strengths. It's different. So here's the thing, right? We're all equal value at the core. I'm not better than anybody. No one's better than me. But because we're different, that gives room for those differences to be judged by society, parents, peers. And how people judge those differences really makes a big impact on people's lives. If society says that, well, quiet people are lower value, they shouldn't be this quiet, what's going on here? There's something wrong with these people. They're broken in some way. They're fundamentally inferior. That could be really, really hard for someone to understand, and you might get gaslit and confused into thinking that you're not enough. This happens to so many people that come to my events in Birmingham. They don't think that they're enough, and they fail to see their own strengths. And I've always thought, why is this? Why is it that people don't know their own strengths? And there's probably a lot of reasons, so I can just speculate with a couple of reasons. But what I think is perhaps their parents didn't recognize the unique strengths that this person had, and they didn't point them out. Maybe their parents tried to force them to be like them, and they were just like, this isn't working for me. I can't think in the way that you think, do things in the way that you do, because I'm not wired that way. It just isn't working. I'm pretending to be something I'm not. What's all this pretending about? But maybe a different set of parents might have taken more time and said, do you know what? When it comes to acting, performance, my son, my daughter, they're brilliant at that. They come alive in that situation and they're so good. Maybe they'd be a great leader, a great motivator. Do you know what? My son, my daughter, they just never stop going. They never quit. They have endless motivation. You know, they're so good at sticking at things. They have stamina. Amazing. If a kid was made aware of his or her natural strengths and develop these strengths from a young age, they'd have confidence. No doubt about that. So because we're all different, this gives room for narratives to be created that one type of person is somehow better or worse than another type of person. And unfair treatment is pretty much the only reason why people are angry, frustrated, struggling in life, and struggling with confidence. And whenever I'm coaching somebody and they start to realize that, hold on, so you're saying that this person is just equal to me. They're different, but they're equal. So much better. It just feels right. The great thing is, no matter how much gaslighting and manipulation and brainwashing goes on, people's gut instincts stays attached to the truth. It's like a lighthouse, a shining beacon that lets you know when you're on the right path, being yourself, or you're not. So the gut instinct tells you when things are right. And even if you say to yourself, do you know what? I'm above everybody else. I'm superior. And you go out and start speaking to people, you feel horrible. It just feels wrong. Doesn't feel right. No one enjoys that. No one really, beyond the ego, no one enjoys feeling above other people. It feels wrong. Doesn't feel right. And at the same time, no one enjoys feeling beneath anybody else. Thinking that this person's their boss and they're ordering them about, controlling their life. I've never met one person that likes being bossed about. Never. So no one likes it. And of course, it is true that there's such a thing as situational value. So maybe in a work context, if you're a junior, you're new in your role, of course your boss has more experience in that field, so they can guide and direct you in that field. But outside of that context, if you're having a chat with them over coffee, you're both equal value. At the core, that never changes. And you might think, well, if we're already equal value, what's the point in working on ourselves in our life? Because all we can achieve, we can't change our value. Our value's already equal. The point is, even though your core value stays the same, you can improve your life quality and your experience of life. And it's building that confidence. And I'll give you an example. So when I was younger, as a teenager, and in my early to mid 20s, I lacked confidence in all areas of life. At that time in my life, I had literally zero confidence with women. I didn't have any confidence with women, and I would do online dating, go to bars, do all this effort, all this stuff. I wasn't getting anywhere. And this was from the ages of 18 to 24. I'd moved to university. I was a fresher. I was going out on a regular basis, doing all the possible actions you could possibly do. But I literally was getting nowhere. And I was so frustrated. I was like, wow, I must be working so much harder than everybody else. And I couldn't even get a date. This is back then. I couldn't figure out why. I was like, this doesn't make sense. I'm speaking, I'm walking, I'm talking. I don't look that bad. What's going on here? Because I hadn't figured out what my natural strengths were. I hadn't developed confidence. Whatever I did just didn't work. Now I can see it differently. I see the picture a lot clearer. Because I'm confident now, I believe in myself. It communicates that your genetics are enough, but also you know that they're enough. And this is really important because what I realized is that for women, it's a massive investment to choose a guy. Because go back to hunter-gatherer times, maybe a woman dies in childbirth. There's an infection. She has to trust that the guy is going to stick around to raise a successful hunter-gatherer. And if you're not playing to your strengths, if you're playing to your weaknesses and trying to be something you're not, you're literally not going to be thriving. You're that chihuahua racing with greyhounds, getting beat every single time. And as long as you stay on that wrong path, you're never going to blossom and reach your potential. So you're not ready yet. Nature's saying you're not ready yet to reproduce. You're not ready yet because you're on the wrong path. And your gut feeling tells you that as well. Something's wrong here. Something isn't working. I have to change things. And as cheesy as it sounds, when you start being yourself, playing to your natural strengths, understanding the type of person that you are, and just being that person, things change completely. This person is now on the right path, not trying to compete with other people. And you come across so much better. So that's an interesting side, that confidence comes from being yourself. And without confidence, it's really hard to find a quality relationship. But realizing that everybody's equal value, I'll tell you why it improves your social conversations so much. It takes the ego out of the way. Whenever there's an ego there on the other person's part or your part, it really ruins the conversation. There's this weird feeling, this tension, this awkwardness, and it's like a hostility going on, a competition going on. No one enjoys that. Doesn't feel good. Doesn't feel good for them or you. And the crazy thing is, as long as other people feel equal to you, it's hard for an argument to happen. Maybe you're scared of confrontation. I know quite a lot of my clients are scared of getting angry. They're scared of the other person being angry and what that could possibly lead to. What if there's a disagreement, a tit for tat disagreement, it escalates and it leads into a fight? But here's the thing. Imagine that someone treated you as an equal from the get-go and carried on treating you as an equal the whole time. It'd be really, really hard to be angry and mad at that person. It would be almost impossible. And it's the same the other way around. What makes people feel angry, mispronouncing my words there. What makes people feel angry is unequal treatment. Whenever someone feels that they're being unfairly treated, it makes them feel hurt and feel angry. They can't understand it. Something tells them that this is wrong. I'm not being treated right here. And why is that? Their gut's telling them that something is off. Because there's an inequality between two people. That's why. It creates friction. Imagine that this is you and this is the other person. So if there's inequality, there's friction. There's a tension there that isn't good. But if there's equality there, so much better. That ice, that awkwardness, it just goes away. And a natural connection starts to unfold. Connection is an energetic, emotional exchange between two people. That's what it is. It's electricity, whatever you want to call it. And it comes down to taking the ego out of the way. It's crazy the difference that removing the ego makes for human connection and confidence as well. You might think that you get your confidence from the ego. It's actually not true. You've probably heard the phrase that there's a fine line between confidence and arrogance. I disagree with this. I think that they're completely different. If you trace back the fundamental belief, this is how confidence is different from arrogance. Okay? So if you believe that everybody's equal, but you believe in yourself, that's confidence. Everybody's equal, and I believe in myself. Arrogance comes from the belief that people aren't equal and I'm superior to other people. That's where arrogance comes from. So arrogance comes from the ego. Confidence comes from the soul. It's different. There's no limit to how much self-confidence you can have. And you should have self-confidence. Your evolution, your DNA has survived from however many millions of years ago to now. So you should have confidence because you are enough. Nature says that you're enough. I don't care what society says. Its messages change all the time. One year, this is a trend. Another year, it's something different. But what you can rely on is your gut instinct and nature. So you're enough, therefore you deserve to be fully confident. Arrogance and ego, they go hand in hand, and it isn't confidence. It's not true confidence. It feels weird. Feels super, super weird. So ego is the biggest barrier that I know to connection. And when you remove the ego, just watch how much better your conversations are. For example, so I'm part of a local running club, did a run yesterday, a 5K run. Actually, it was 4 miles. And I got chatting to a guy after the run, and he asked me, so what do you do? And I said, I coach people with social anxiety on getting more confident. And he told me that he understands the importance of that, and he used to struggle with that himself when he was younger. And actually, it's one of the reasons why now he's a physiotherapist, because he gets to speak to people all day and help people out. And as soon as we both opened up and shared this, the conversation was really, really easy, super comfortable, and it flowed naturally. Because calling out, I help people out with social anxiety, something I've struggled with, and having someone else do the same, immediately our egos are out of the way. So the conversation happens. So that's one of the biggest blockages to human connection. You could say that it's the only blockage to worry about. When you believe that you're enough, you're equal to other people, it's so easy to talk to them. And it's almost so easy that you might think, there's not much content that I need to know at all. I already have the answers. It is this simple. What can also help out, this helps out quite a lot of my clients in terms of motivation, feeling good, not sabotaging. So within our brain, there's a split, a parent-child split. I find this stuff super interesting. And the inner child, this is the part of you which is more vulnerable. The inner child is the more emotional, softer, insecure part of you. We all have that. We all have that fear. We all have those feelings. Some days you feel great. Some days you feel depressed and sad. Some days you feel irritable and everything's frustrating you. Like, man, people are really, really annoying. Other days you're really calm and chill. So the inner child is up and down, and there's these emotional changes. we have an inner parent as well. The inner parent, this is the voice that I'm using now when I'm doing this live stream. That's the inner parent speaking. The inner parent is the voice that you're most aware of, and it's how you lead your life, how you taught yourself into going to work, going to the gym, living your purpose, whatever you're focused on. So your relationship with your inner child is really, really important. And when you get this right, you're so much happier. So much happier. So firstly, a mistake that lots of people make, I used to make, I know other people that make this mistake, is letting their inner child run their life. The voice says, I'm not in the mood today. I really don't feel like going for a run. I feel like staying up till 2 a.m, watching videos on Instagram, rather than going to bed at a good time. I feel like binge eating sweets and biscuits all night. That's the inner child. And you can tell from the language, it comes across childish. Allowing your inner child to run your life is crazy. Your inner child isn't qualified to run your adult life because your inner child is like a 12-year-old. Would you let a 12-year-old, imagine you had a 12-year-old son or a 12-year-old daughter, would you let your 12-year-old child dictate how you spend your day? Would you trust them to do this? Probably not. In the same way, don't allow your inner child to boss your life. Your role's different. Your role's to be a parent and look after your own inner child. Sorry, I have to go out to hunt today. I have to provide. I have to be an adult. I can't sit at home and watch movies all day and eat Cheetos. I'm going to go out there, make some progress, get some food, and make sure that our life keeps on improving. That's different. That's someone who cares about their inner child and cares so much that they're willing to go out there and take their life by the horns, move forwards, and bring something back. Giving value to your inner child. Imagine that you was a paramedic, you're on duty, and someone has a heart attack, cardiac arrest, they've collapsed on the floor. Your inner child, if you allowed it to run your life, you might say, I'm in a bit of a low mood right now, feeling a bit down, so not going to do CPR. You can't do this. You have to say, okay, this person had a heart attack. I'm going to go over there, do CPR right now. You can talk to your inner child later. In this moment, you have to be a parent and you have to act. So you don't allow your inner child to run your life when it's an emergency. Don't allow it to run your life in general. It's not right. But at the same time, do listen to your emotions. Treat them like, treat your emotions as if, or treat that part of you as if it's your actual child. Listen, be understanding. Allow your emotions to be heard. Don't ignore them. Don't abandon yourself. But at the same time, when it goes too far is when you allow your inner child to run your whole life. If I did that, I'd have a 12-year-old child running my business, being angry when someone doesn't reply to a message. That would be so silly. You have to let the parent in you run the adult things in your life, while still listening and being there for your inner child. And this helps out with motivation. So when you hear that voice saying, I don't feel like going to the gym today, it's raining outside, that's a child speaking. So recognize that that's your inner child, but you're the parent. And say to yourself, I understand how you feel. I totally get it, but going to the gym is best for both of us. So I'm going to make that executive parent decision. It's in the best interests of myself as the parent and my own inner child. To go deeper with this psychology as well, when you learn to be an amazing parent for your inner child, you're learning to be an amazing parent in general. You're mastering being a parent before you've become a parent. What that means is that when you find a woman who's a good genetic match to you and you have a good natural connection, she can see that you make a fantastic parent. You're a fantastic hunter. You're someone who will nurture and take care of your offspring, but you're also going to provide as well. You're not going to stay in the cave all day when your child feels sad because you have to go out there and get food. There's no other choice. Also, you have great social skills, a great network of connections. So becoming an amazing parent to your own inner child, this is how you change your experience of life. And something that I've realized, so a trap that I fell into when I was younger. So I wasn't confident, but I'd learned that if I go out there and speak to loads of people, get myself noticed, it's possible for me to warm up and get into a more confident mood. And I thought, wow, this is so crazy. So I can go from being nervous to confident in like 45 minutes if I just speak to loads of people and put myself out there. And I thought that the way for me to become confident in general was just to keep on doing this. But something wasn't right. I was like, I'm going out there speaking to people, I'm getting myself into a confident mood. But my confidence in general, it feels the same. I feel like I always have to warm up. And I realized that I was taking one step forwards, but also shooting myself in the foot at the same time. It's all about the reason why you're behaving in the way you're behaving. Why was I feeling the need to warm up? It's because I thought that the unwarmed up version of me wasn't enough. So I had to hype myself into this more confident state before connecting with people. When I realized this, I thought, wow, that's crazy. Let's stop warming up. Let's just turn up as myself with no preparation. I don't need to meditate to feel calmer and less anxious before going to a social situation. I can just turn up raw, no matter how I feel. Even if I'm in my worst state, I have a day where I feel out of it, depressed, angry, I'm still going to go to socials. I'm not going to make any effort to change my mood because that's artificial. However I feel is enough. I changed my mindset there. This is how I changed my confidence. It's all about why you're doing what you're doing, why you are doing what you're doing. So if you're communicating to yourself through your actions that you're already enough, I don't need to warm up. I'm just going to turn up, be myself, and enjoy connecting with people. Don't need anything back. That's success. Now your confidence will grow because your behavior's right. And when your behavior's right, how you feel about yourself, it catches up to that over time. So you change your behavior, and the emotions, they lag behind, but they eventually catch up. And this is just how our bodies change with new habits. new habits take a while to build, but when you've built them and you've strengthened them, how you feel about yourself naturally catches up. And learning this just blew my mind, because I'd spent all this time searching for answers on how to overcome social anxiety. And this is where it's a bit like fake it till you make it, except that you're actually not faking it, because you are already enough as you are. So you just go out without any preparation. You don't hype yourself to feel in a good mood. You don't arm yourself with knowledge. You just turn up raw as you are. And the whole time you behave as if you're already enough, because you are already enough. And because you're behaving in this way, you're being honest. You're actually speaking your mind. What happens is you get proof that you're safe to open up and connect with other people. You get proof that you can actually express yourself unfiltered, or maybe you're still a bit filtered because it's appropriate to the context, but you're being yourself. And other people are fine with it. They accept you. And you get this message that you're safe. This is how you overcome social anxiety. So social anxiety is where you have a fear of connecting with people. And because you have this fear of connecting with people, you want to avoid connection. And you can avoid connection in many ways. The simplest way is not to leave the house. To not leave the house and put yourself in social situations. This is the best way to avoid connecting with people. And of course, the problem with this is that anxiety levels get worse. You never feel good for locking yourself away. So social anxiety gets higher, fear gets higher, you feel worse, and things don't change. There's a suffering that is automatic when you don't go out of the house and socialize with people, because that's your biology telling you that something's off here. The gut feeling says something's wrong. If you isolated yourself from the tribe in hunter-gatherer times, you found your own spot in a cave, hidden from other people, and just stayed there, that's not good. That's highly risky. So your body's telling you, your biology is telling you that something's off here, and there's a suffering that happens. But the great thing is, this is feedback from life and nature. Nature's telling you that something's off and something has to change. When you make this change, you feel different. So it's not a permanent state, this anxiety and suffering. It's only when you're cutting yourself off from connection. So when you step outside the house and you go to different socials, immediately you're starting to face this fear. But the fear's still there. It's very, very sneaky. Fear is incredibly smart, much smarter than me. You can't outthink fear. You can only beat it with stupidity. That's what my mentor used to say. It's way too smart. So you'll be there at a social, and still fear will try to protect you from connecting with people. It'll make it feel really scary to make eye contact with people. It'll make you feel stifled. You might even have really closed off body language, arms folded, not looking at people. And even then, even when you're in a conversation, fear will try to make the conversation not a true connection. Talking without emotions, speaking like a monotone robot about subjects that you're not really interested in. What does the other person want to hear? What is the socially cool thing to talk about right now? How can I tick the boxes and make this seem like a normal conversation? This is fear trying to stop you from actually connecting with somebody. And what I do at my events, a common exercise, which is scary but also helpful, is to have people make eye contact with somebody else and have a 5-minute conversation, holding eye contact as much as they can. And the great thing with this is it forces you to have a real conversation. Even me right now, I'm looking at the camera lens of my phone. So if I start thinking what to say next, my eyes look away, and so the eye contact's broke because I'm searching in my brain for the logical thing to say next. This kills connection. But if you maintain eye contact, you're present in the moment the whole time, and you can't think multiple steps ahead. You have to just say what's on your mind because there's nothing else there. So this eye contact exercise, which you can find a way to apply if you go to a networking event or you join meetup.com and you see what socials are going on in your area, you can try having conversations and keeping the eye contact more than you normally would. And it might feel kind of weird at first if it's new to you. But I promise you that over time, this will reduce your social anxiety. You're getting proof that you can connect with people, nothing bad happens, and you're safe. You must be enough as you are. It reaffirms that core belief that you're enough, you're equal to other people. And the crazy thing is, something that's just come to my mind, is all these narratives and the ego and the brain thinking that this person is cut from a different cloth than me, they're somehow better, or I'm somehow better, whatever the narrative the mind's saying. That narrative goes away as soon as you truly connect with people. It's like you're reminded of the truth. Oh yeah, I'm enough. The other person's enough. We're both equal. We're both just having a chat. And if you're someone with social anxiety, having a chat, a proper chat, is going to feel so good. We all know how the anxiety brain can be. Worrying about the future, pulling you out of the present moment, all these scary thoughts. What if I don't figure out what my purpose is? What if I never get confident? What if I don't meet somebody? What if I'm not good enough? What if this? What if that? So you actually get to have a break from the anxiety brain and truly connect with somebody. Those thoughts just go away when you're really connecting. It's impossible to be consumed by those thoughts and fully connected to a person at the same time. And the great thing is, when you don't feed that part of your brain, you switch off from those thoughts, they become less strong, and less consuming. You don't need to feed that part of you. Awareness is okay, but the more you feed those thoughts, the more they grow and the more anxious you become. You know, I see all these titles online, quite gimmicky titles, but I get why people click on them. For example, there's a 20-minute video on YouTube titled something like "How to Kill Your Ego in 1 Second." And these titles hook people in. They're looking for a gimmick, a trick, a quick fix. But really, how do you kill the ego in 1 second? Connection. Presence. That's how you do it. The ego exists in the mind, the thinking mind. And when you're just doing, you're not thinking. You're fully immersed in your doing. You're committed to the activity, the task at hand. The anxiety doesn't exist. And it's crazy when you think about it. Anxiety It's a fear of thoughts. The thoughts are really, really scary. But the reality isn't even that scary. In my business, the thought of selling to people, the thought's scary. Wow, selling to people, asking people to pay me for coaching. This is a bit where people pay me money and there's an agreement. The thoughts of selling are scary. But when you're actually doing it, you're offering someone a coaching program for a price and accepting whether it's a yes or a no, it's really not that bad. So often, the thought of something is way scarier than the reality. And this is helpful to know because maybe you want to go to a social and get more confident, and your thoughts, they're so scary. The worst case scenario will play in your mind. What if I go to this social? I don't know anybody there. Everybody is already in a group. I'm just by myself, feeling lonely. I can't join in a conversation. What if it's a horrible experience? What if I feel terrible the whole time and I go away feeling rejected and feeling even worse? What if this happens? The thoughts. Then you go to the social and you say to yourself, okay, so I genuinely don't know how the social is going to go down. There's uncertainty there. What is success? Me turning up and speaking to one person. If I turn up to that social and I speak to one person, even for 30 seconds, I say hi and introduce myself, that's success because I beat my anxiety, and in that moment, I beat my social fears and experienced one interaction. So when you change your mindset, that can motivate you to do the things that you might be putting off. And you'll realize that it's actually not that bad. You'll probably go away thinking, I'm glad that I went to this social. I did speak to one person. Success. And actually, people were friendlier than I expected. The horror story that my mind was creating was a horror story. It wasn't the real story. And this can spur you on, and you'll feel more motivated afterwards, and you'll be thinking, do you know what? I want to go to another social. It's the same with my coffee socials in Birmingham. So people come down and they're scared. They don't know what's going to happen. What if I turn up to Phil's coffee social, everybody ignores me, and I can't get my words out? What if I say something stupid? What if I say something racist? What if my mind just stops working and I crumble? What if this? What if that? They come to the social, none of those things happen. They have a pretty good time, and they think, why was I so scared? So often, the reason that you're scared is because of an earlier experience in life or some earlier experiences. But the crazy thing is that between those earlier experiences and now, I'm pretty sure that you've changed as a person. I'm pretty sure that things in life have changed a lot. So this earlier experience that you might have had, maybe it's no longer relevant. Maybe you've changed so much that this thing you're holding on to from the past, you can now let go of it. A situation that once beat you and was once stronger than you, now it's weaker than you, and you can handle it fine. And you don't gain skill sets and confidence without real world experience. So when you're out there and getting the experience, you're growing. And the ego will try to talk you out of it. The ego will say, oh, I'm better than that. I don't need to do that. Because it's fear talking. Fear likes to talk through the ego, and it wants to protect you. It wants to say, don't go to any socials. What if they don't work? What if it's a scam? What if it's a myth? What if it's an illusion? Fear is so smart, and it's going to try to talk you out of doing things which are actually good for you. And this is where you can use your parent voice, your voice of experience, and you can overrule the fear. You can say, okay, I do feel scared right now. There's no point in lying. I'm scared of going to a social. But do you know what? I'm going to do it. I'm going to go on meetup.com, find something going on in my area in the next 2 or 3 weeks, a free event, book myself on it, and turn up. That's success. And what I meant to say earlier, but I forgot, was that so people come to my coffee socials, enjoy it, then they come back and they go to other meetups, they get the bug for it, they get the excitement. Like if you've ever traveled, the first time you go on a plane can be scary. When you've done it a few times, you'll really enjoy it, and you'll get the travel bug, and you'll think, I can't wait for the next trip, can't wait for the next flight. Let's get more things on the list. Let's visit more places. It's addictive. Same with going to events. Going to events to build confidence, it's addictive. In that moment, you're in the arena, facing your fears, growing as a person. Amazing. And here's the thing, this really helps out people. Never judge yourself. If you go to a social and you don't speak once, zero self-judgment. Self-judgment comes from the ego. It doesn't matter if you go to a social group and you speak 1 time, 10 times, or 100 times. 100 times. It doesn't make you a better person or a worse person if you're speaking more or less. And you know that because we're all equal at the core. It doesn't matter if you're naturally quiet or naturally loud. Doesn't matter at all. Trust yourself and trust in your own process. Maybe you first go to some socials just to take it in. You don't put any pressure on yourself. You don't even need to talk to people. You can just go and you can be an observer. I'm just here to listen, to get some experience and see what's going on. Amazing. When you've got your foot in the door, you've been to a couple, you'll naturally feel inspired to push it a little bit further. Well, maybe this time I'll try to join in and say something to the whole group. Awesome. You're finding a way to push things that a little bit further. And incrementally, as you're growing as a person, you expose yourself to more fears. Just like if you was going to the gym and you was lifting weights, which I'm going to do actually after this stream. As you get stronger, you increase the weight. It's no different when it comes to building confidence. When you're going to socials, you're in the gym, the confidence gym. The more time you spend there facing your fears, the more you're going to grow. And what's the right balance? So imagine that you was doing a shoulder press, okay? If you picked a crazy heavy weight, you might collapse under the bar and pick up an injury. That's a bit too much. That's overwhelming. Maybe that is like giving a public talk in front of 1,000 people. It's too intimidating right now. That's okay. But you don't want to pick a weight that's too small because that's easy. Maybe that is speaking to a family member or a close friend who you already know, someone that you're already comfortable with. So you want to pick something which is challenging but manageable. That's the key. Anything above or below that is not smart. It's not going to make you get there faster if you pick a heavier weight. It's just not smart. So So what is the right balance? To put yourself in situations where you genuinely feel nervous, but you're not overwhelmed. That's like feeling a bit of resistance in the bar, but you can do it. So maybe you could join meetup.com. You could find a free event going on near you. Okay, what's going on? Find an event that's new with 3 or 4 people and say, I feel nervous, but I'm going to go to this event. A coffee social, cinema, and food, whatever it is. You push yourself to go to that. And you'll know that you're growing because over time you'll feel more relaxed. And at some point, this situation will feel easy. You're like, this is easy. Like, I've adapted. Now I've got to pick something which is more intense. Then you go to a bigger meetup, or you push yourself more at the current social. And over time, with practice, with experience, you get to a stage where you can do a public talk, handle it, nothing bad happens. This is a journey that I've been on. Exposure therapy. Exposure therapy is how you overcome social anxiety. Tried and tested, 100% works. If you look at exposure therapy in the top scientific journals, it works. Something which has stood the test of time. If you look at a psychology textbook, they kind of have quite a funny example where they'll have someone that's got a phobia of spiders, and first they might show them some photographs with spiders on it. So they're looking at a picture of spiders. Okay, they can handle this. When they're ready, we'll show them a video of some spiders. Before you know it, they're in a hazmat suit and they're playing with some spiders. Then they're taking the suit off, and over time, they get used to being around spiders and they're no longer afraid of spiders. But the psychologist who's getting them over the fear of spiders doesn't say, right, what we're going to do is get a tarantula out of a cage and you're going to play with it now. It's too much, not sensible, would make them panic, might re-traumatize them, might make it worse. They might become more scared of spiders. So start with something which you can handle, but makes you a bit nervous, and make that tougher over time when you get to a stage where you're not nervous anymore. And in terms of me and how much I've grown, it shocks me to look back at what I used to be like. So it would have been year 8 and year 9 in high school, the second and third year of high school. So I was like 13, 14 kind of age. I was selectively mute. So I could go 1 day, 2 days without saying more than 1 word out loud. This was the whole day. So I would literally be too afraid to even speak, too afraid to say anything, to do anything. I felt like I was living my life on eggshells. And I was the most quiet person throughout all of high school and college as well. I was terrified in all social situations. I would completely freeze up and feel my whole body go really, really tense. And I would feel like I was going to pass out. And my brain would be saying, you're going to faint. You're going to have a heart attack. You're going to pass out. And this battle would be going on when I was in social situations. So I used to be that scared of socializing. And you fast forward quite a lot of years, and I'm doing a public talk with 60 people every single month at my live event. And I feel chilled. I feel a bit nervous, but nothing that I can't handle. It's crazy to think that I've come this way. Exposure therapy was the answer. Simple as that. Being myself, getting the real exposure, and taking my time. Rome wasn't built in a day. And if you look online, there's a lot of gimmicks, hacks, and tricks to try and get people more confident. But these gimmicks and hacks and tricks, they don't stand the test of time. They don't work on a long-term basis. Quick fixes are not long-term fixes. It's a patch-over job rather than a transformation. So if you have social anxiety, rather than thinking, what's the quick fix? Think, what's the long-term solution? What actually works? And probably you already know what works. That's the crazy truth. Think about someone that you don't have social anxiety around. Maybe it's a parent, sibling, friend, work colleague. There's got to be someone who, in your life or in a past time in your life, who you already feel comfortable with. You don't have social anxiety with that person, so you've already beat it with that person. You've proven to yourself that you can beat social anxiety because you beat it with at least one person. Think about that process. Perhaps you both spent time getting to know each other, learn that you're both good people. You can let your guard down, nothing bad happens. You can have a laugh and joke. You're not going to get judged. Whatever that process is, that process got you over social anxiety with that person. The same process, the exact same process that worked with one person can work with all people. It's the same. Okay, so let's say that the fear of self-judgment, the fear of judgment from others is the reason why you have social anxiety. And when you realize that you can say what you want and the judgment either doesn't come or isn't going to affect you, then you're relaxed. Well, start saying what you want. Start facing your fear of being judged with people in general. And then you're going to learn to become relaxed around people in general. If you've overcome social anxiety with one person, you can overcome it with 10 people, 100, 1,000, 1,000,000, the entire planet. And because I have been on this journey, that's why I now coach other people. I've solved my own problem in this area of life, searched many, many, many years for the answers. There's no gimmicks or shortcuts or tricks, but it is possible. And you can overcome your anxiety in 3 months, 6 months, 2 years for a complete transformation. And my job is to lead you on the right path so that you actually get there. You're not going to be held back by gimmicks and quick fixes and tricks that don't get you there in the long term. I want to get you to transform. So I want to get you on the right path, away from the gimmicks, away from the tricks, and get you to stick on that path long enough before you're confident enough to know that, oh yeah, this does work. Oh yeah, this isn't BS. This is literally the path that actually works. And this is why I've been able to build a community through my in-person events, because what I'm doing works. A third of the room are my clients. And you can see that they've grown in confidence over time. Not overnight, months. They've put the work in and they've got results out. Just like when you're going to the gym, it takes time to get in shape. There's not a gimmick, a trick, a quick fix. You have to do things properly over time. You could say that I'm a personal trainer for overcoming social anxiety. So I'm getting you to do things properly to make sure that you get the results that you want a lot faster. And I provide help and support to hold you accountable to doing the right things as well as doing them properly. When you get those things right, you do get results. If you hired a top personal trainer, you put the work in, exercise, diet, sleep, you would get results. Not immediately, but over time, you would get results. So this is how I position myself and market myself, because it's a great way to describe what I do. And if you're interested in receiving private coaching, I'm confident enough to offer the first session free of charge. So you can try my coaching before deciding if it's right for you. Most of the time, the sessions are impactful, and after session 1, the person comes back more confident. And that's why people say, do you know what, Phil? I enjoyed that taster coaching session. Can I book some more? Then we sort out a price, an agreement, something which is going to work for both of us. And before you know it, I'm coaching you. You're overcoming social anxiety, feeling better, making progress. You're paying to have somebody who's an expert help and support you to achieve your goals. Someone to get you to believe in yourself, do the right things, overcome limiting beliefs, play to your strengths, develop them. This is what you're getting. I'm not here to waste people's time. I'm here to get people results. That's what my focus is. That's why I do what I do. So if this interests you, simply drop me an email and I'll send you a link to my calendar so you can book the taster coaching session. Also, if you want to come and check out one of my live events, again, drop me an email and I'll send you a link. I also have a bunch of courses that I've been putting on. The next one to go on, which will take place on a Saturday next month. And off the top of my head, I can't remember the date. I think it's the second Saturday of the month. I'm doing a public speaking course. This is a 6-hour, 1-day course. And the goal is not to get you delivering a really polished presentation. That's not the goal. I'm not interested in that. The goal is to get you over the fear of public speaking. I want to get you speaking in front of other people. Have you let your guard down? Be relaxed. Get the proof that you're safe. So you actually become more confident and experience less anxiety in that situation. So I can't promise that you're going to deliver a really polished and professional talk, because that's partly due to the content preparation. But the goal is you're going to feel more relaxed and more confident in the spotlight. It's for a group of 5 to 10 people, and it costs £100 to book your place. You're going to learn all the basics, a vocal warm-up so that your voice is never going to break or crack during a talk. You're going to learn how to project your voice, how to speak from your diaphragm rather than your chest, how to make eye contact with people when giving a talk, how to walk and move when you're giving a talk rather than stay rooted to one spot. So you're going to learn the ABCs, the techniques. Okay? You're going to learn that. But what's more important than that is overcoming the fear of delivering a speech in that environment. So that is the aim of my public speaking course. And when I say overcoming the fear, let's be really, really clear. You're never going to get to a stage where there's zero fear before a public talk. That's not reality. Anyone that says that, they're trying to sell you on something which isn't true. Stand-up comedians like Billy Connolly, Peter Kay, seasoned veteran stand-up comedians that give public talks all the time, they still feel afraid before talks. But they reframe it as excitement and they're able to be confident and relax when they're on the stage. So beforehand, they're nervous, but when they're on the stage, they overcome the nerves and have a great time. It's the exact same process that I'm putting you through. You're always going to feel nervous, that anticipation before you give a talk, but over time it reduces and you learn how to be relaxed when you're actually giving the talk. The nerves are pre-event nerves, but you're not going to be held back by those nerves when you're delivering the event. You're going to use that nervous energy to improve your speech rather than block it. You're going to make the nerves work for you, make them your best friend rather than your competitive enemy. So email me if you're interested in joining next month's one-day public speaking course. And that's definitely enough of me talking for the time being. I'm going to get my gym session in, do some work on my business, have a couple of days off and return to coaching 2 clients on the weekend. Enjoy the rest of your day.